Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So we have a huge day coming up in just 13 days. That's going to be on August 10th. That is going to give us an even better indication of how much of an increase all Social Security beneficiaries can expect to receive, whether you're receiving retirement benefits, SSI or SSDI benefits. We're going to be covering all the information in today's video, but before we go ahead and dive into the main content, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so every single year, or in most years at least, there is an increase that is guaranteed to happen for all Social Security beneficiaries. Again, whether you receive retirement, whether you receive SSI, or whether you receive SSDI, you're going to be included in this increase. It's going to be a guaranteed increase, and in most years, this happens anyways. And this year, it's almost certain to happen. Well, it's going to take place in January of 2024. That is simply called your cost of living adjustment, or COLA for short. So how they figure this is they use an inflation data metric called the CPI-W, which is short for Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. And in this index, it's just a number, a basket of goods and services. And they come up with this number, and what they're going to do is they're going to compare this number from the third quarter of the current year to the third quarter of the previous year. So the third quarter is July, August, and September. And even though we're currently in July, this is actually going to be trailing by 1 month. So we're not going to know the July CPI-W numbers until next month in August. Once again, that's going to be August 10th. So on August 10th, we'll know the July numbers. Then in September, we'll know the August numbers. And then in October, we'll finally know the September numbers. And we're going to be averaging those three numbers from July, August, and September and comparing those numbers to the same numbers, the CPI-W data from July, August, and September of 2022. So if it rises, that's going to be the cost of living adjustment. They round that up to the nearest tenth. If it doesn't go up at all, there's no COLA increase at all. And if it actually decreases, so if it actually goes down from 1 year to the next, then you might think, well, is there going to be a COLA decrease? Well, thankfully, there is a law in place where there would be no COLA decrease, there would be no COLA increase. Instead, there would be no adjustment at all. So that's a good thing if, inflation actually goes down, which is very rare, but does happen in certain years, then you would actually not be receiving any type of decrease at all. So you can see up there on the screen the history of the COLA adjustments, starting at 2007, coming all the way down to 2022. And of course, the 2023 COLA that we received this year was the highest in 40 years. That's the number that really stands out the most at 8.7%. However, you can see that in certain years like 2009, there was no COLA that was recorded. So in 2010, people did not receive an adjustment at all. 2010, the following year, the exact same thing happened. So then in 2011, people didn't receive anything at all. And then once again, in 2015, there was no COLA increase. So then in 2016, in January, people received exactly what they did in 2015. So you can see up on the screen here, here is the CPI-W data that I was talking about earlier. And this was recorded all the way back to 1974. So we're just going to scroll down the screen here and look at this data. So the two numbers that we really need to pay attention to here are 2022 and 2023. So we can see here that the numbers that were released this month in July for the month of June came in at 299.394. So we're going to be comparing the next 3 months coming up in July, August, and September. Once again, this data is going to be released in August, September, and October. So then in October, we're going to know what the COLA increase is going to be for sure for 2024. So again, the last reading for June was 299.394. If we compare that to last year's June, which was 292.542, the increase year over year is at 2.3%. Now, a lot of the projections that are out there are a lot higher than 2.3%, and you might wonder why. So we can see that last year from June to July, the CPI-W actually decreased from 292.542 to 292.219. So last year at this time, the COLA was actually beginning to go down. There was actually some disinflation taking place. Then it decreased once again from July to August from 292.219 to 291.629. So basically what this means, since the CPI-W from last year was decreasing at this time, it was going down rather than up. If the CPI-W continues to go up this year as it has been every single month so far, then we should see a gradual increase from the 2.3% where it is currently. So again, we're basically going to be comparing the three numbers in July, August, and September from last year, which are 292.219, 291.629, and 291.854. We're going to be adding those numbers up, which results in 875.702. And that number is going to be compared to the numbers we get from July, August, and September of this year. So if the CPI-W reading in June of 299.394 stays the same and doesn't continue to increase, which it has been so far every single month of this year, then the COLA will still be at 2.6%. So basically, if we don't see any type of increase the rest of the year, if it stays exactly the same, the CPI-W, worst case scenario, we have 2.6%. That's probably going to be the worst case scenario because every single month so far this year, the CPI-W has been increasing. So I don't expect that trend to stop, perhaps, even though it did last year. We'll have to wait and see. But, at the end of the day, it seems very likely that we're probably going to get an even higher number than 2.6%. And that's why we're getting like the Senior Citizens League coming out last month, or this month rather, coming out with a new prediction of 3%. So it looks like it's probably going to be anywhere between 2.6 to 3%. Could be possibly lower, could possibly be higher, but that's probably what's going to end up happening. So once again, we can see the release for the Consumer Price Index, the schedule up on the screen there. And once again, next month on August 10th, we're going to have the July CPI-W data out. And then the next month after that, it's going to be September 13th. That's going to be the date in which we can get the August data. And then finally on October 12th, we're going to be receiving the data for September. So October 12th is the date that we really need to keep our eyes out on, but really, next month on August 10th is going to give us an even better idea of where the CPI-W inflation data is heading. Is it continuing to trend upwards? Is it staying about the same? And, it would be great if it would actually go down, but if it goes down, that could mean a lesser COLA for next year. So again, August 12th is going to give us, the official numbers of how much of an increase we can expect to receive in 2024. So over the next few months, it's going to be very exciting. We're going to have a better idea of how much of an increase we're going to be receiving for that COLA in 2024. Again, I expect probably anywhere between, maybe 2.4 to 3.2%, but it looks like the Senior Citizens League prediction of 3% might just be what it ends up being. Now, and some other real quick news here last night, the Senate did pass their annual defense bill, which is now going to be sent off to the House. So we'll have to see whether or not that bill passes in the House. Now, in their bill, most notably, there was a 5.2% pay increase for military personnel, $9.1 billion for various measures aimed at competitiveness with China, and another $300 million sent over to Ukraine. So let me know what your thoughts are about that. Should we be sending even more money to fund that war in Ukraine? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are below on that. Now, we did have some senators on both sides of the aisle who rejected this bill, probably because of that funding to Ukraine. And in those rejections included 6 Democrats in Cory Booker, Ed Markey, Jeff Merkley, Elizabeth Warren, Peter Welch, and Ron Wyden. And then the Republicans were Mike Braun, Mike Lee, J.D. Vance, and Rand Paul. So that's all the news that we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.